I'm Sergeant Joe Hovis with the South Carolina Highway Patrol.
And I'm Sergeant Dee Brown with the South Carolina Highway Patrol.
And this is Afternoon Tea with Joe and Dee.
So Joe, let me ask you a question. What was your first impression of me when you got to patrol school, when we came to patrol school?
Yeah, we get first day of trooper school, you get there and I'm kind of sizing everybody up and I'm thinking like, this is not going to be too bad. And then, Dee steps up. He looks like he just walked off the practice field for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm like, yeah, I'll probably get him in defensive tactics, later on down the line. He'll probably be killing me. But yeah, it was, I remember that the first day we met.
So I'm going to turn the question on you.
Well, honestly, when I first met you, when I first saw you, I was like, okay, this guy here is probably gonna need some help. We were worried about you, but through the course of the training, especially the first couple weeks, we started to notice that we could take to you because of the fact that you got life skills, you got life wisdom. So we all kind of bonded around you, made sure that we motivated each other, and we wanted to see you get through the process just as much as we did. So I think the biggest thing was just kind of looking at you as a bigger brother versus just an older guy that was coming through the academy. So and here we are today, still 10 years later.
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
Yes.
And we were talking the other day. We were in the office and Major Patterson came up and he was our sergeant. And we were laughing about, we were walking somewhere and we'd see Sergeant Patterson and we'd automatically start running where we were going. But it was a great time back then. It really was. It was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of encouragement going on, and my whole time there, I was the oldest guy there, even over the instructor. So everybody called me Mr. Hovis. So I thought that was pretty cool. So we'd be on a little 5-mile run, and there's a lot of encouragement going on in trooper school, and they would be like, "Are you okay, Mr. Hovis?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, I'm fine." So we kept on going, but it was a great time. It was a great time back then. In 10 years, I can't believe how this goes by.
It goes by fast. So you came from corporate America and came to the Highway Patrol. How was the transition for you coming from corporate America to a career where, being the oldest male in the class, in the transition? What was it like for you?
Well, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a trooper since I was a little boy. And I remember it was on a Sunday afternoon after church, and I was putting in my application, and my wife says, "Honey, what are you doing?" And I guess she thought I was doing something with my business. And I said, I'm applying for the Highway Patrol. And she said, "Okay, that's nice."
Did she laugh?
No, she didn't, but we went to bed that night and we turned off the lights, and she turned back on the light. She sat up in the bed. She said, "Did you say you applied for the South Carolina Highway Patrol?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And luckily the Highway Patrol did not have an age limit. So I was accepted, and the rest is history. But it was, I don't know if I was scared, but pretty apprehensive about going with all those young guys. But they were all encouraging, and they're all pretty much like all my kids, Dee and the rest of those guys. I mean, I had kids their age in the class, and them calling me Mr. Hovis, and it was just a great time back then. Now, your story was a little different. Now, you had applied several times. So what caused you to keep striving to come to work with the Highway Patrol?
Well, I think it was more about, my background, where I came from. I come from a small town where there's not a lot of positive things going on. You don't see a lot of people leaving the town to go do positive things. So my background kind of wanted me to prevail to a point where I wasn't going to be like the rest of the people that come before me. So, I applied 7 times before I actually got through the process. And then when I got through the process, it was, well, we don't have a position for you as a trooper. I kind of was upset about it, but I was always taught, get your foot in the door first. Other things that happen for you. So I went through training and got the opportunity to switch over to the Highway Patrol, went to Orangeburg, and here we are 10 years later, living out our dreams, both for sergeants. So that's what kind of pushed me, was just my background, where I come from. So I just wanted to kind of give somebody else something positive to see, try to push them if they hit a kind of a bump in the road. So best decision I ever made.
Yeah, and I agree, especially for the highway patrol. And I don't know if you guys know this, but this is the face of the highway patrol. It has been
No, it's not.
for years and years and years. And I'm sure that his story has really persuaded a lot of people to come to work for the highway patrol. But you know, if you think about it, our backgrounds are like 180 degree difference from a spectrum. I mean, I'd been married, you know, for a long time, and I was 54 and coming out of the corporate world, and on the other end of the spectrum, you know, Dee, he's young and single, and just two different backgrounds. But that's really what makes it so cool about working for the patrol is that race, creed, color, sex, religion, all that, it pretty much doesn't mean anything, because we're all, you know, ultimately we're all brothers. And I know that if I needed Dee, he would come to my rescue, and I would do the same for him. And later on down the line, as we go, you know, I realize that at my age now that I'm probably on the backside of my career, and probably my only regret is that I don't have more years to give the highway patrol. But we will always be brothers. We had a conversation yesterday. It was his birthday. And I told him, I said, man, I'm so proud of you. I said, I love you. You're like one of my own kids. I said, I love you. So I love you too. And that's how we hung up. But that's the relationship that we've had. And you thinking about, you know, basically two different people, but that's the bond that you have when you come to work for the highway patrol, working with these people, going through things with these people, and the intrinsic value of those relationships that you have and you bond with each other it can't be replaced. Cannot be replaced.
All right, so before we wrap it up, one thing you would tell your younger self coming into law enforcement?
If I was younger, I would tell myself apply today. I really would. Again, probably my biggest regret about coming to work for the Highway Patrol, because I didn't join younger, and I don't have a lot more years to give the Highway Patrol. And you know, if you're looking for something like that, and you know, just the fact that of all those relationships that you build, on top of everything else, it's worth that. It's worth that. That the cause, you know, self-service, integrity, responsibility, all those things, but also relationships, and it's worth, you know, Dee and I, we've been the same way. Now we're fortunate enough to not only work together, but also work under Major Patterson, so we're kind of all back together in the same office together, and it's really, really fun. It's come full circle. But if I had to give advice to a younger me, would be to apply earlier. So what would you say?
I think the biggest thing is just be motivated. A lot of times I think the younger generation now is they kind of want everything handed to them. Well, in this line of work, you got to go out and kind of prove yourself. Everybody starts off the same rank. They go through the same promotional process, and you got to earn it here. It's not, you know, you got this or you can get this. Here, everybody from the colonel to the lowest man has started off in the same position. So motivation is really a big thing, because you see so much, you go through so much. So you got to find a good in the job. I think that comes with the training, building relationships like me and Joe have, seeing each other get promoted. And I always joke with him. I always say, with Joe, when you gonna hang it up? He's like, probably in like 3 years. So in 3 years, I ask him that again. He'll probably say 3 years. So we'll probably be about 20 years on the patrol. He'll still be here. So don't believe the fact that he's leaving anytime soon. He probably won't have that little bit of hair on his head when it's all said and done. But guess what? He's still gonna be Joe. I'm still gonna be Dee. And thank you for having tea with Joe and Dee.
That's right.